Hey folks, it's Dave here in Studio C, and I'm finally taking a look at Gridiron Wars. We're going to call this part one because I'm just going to give a quick overview of what I get into tonight, and then later on I'll do some actual gameplay. But if you like charts, we have charts, okay? You could probably sail around the world with all these charts that I have, okay? It is just all charts. And I highly suggest printing out one of these. This is something I printed out after I played my first Downey game. And, what happens in this game is that if your running back or a quarterback is an H, depending on what's happening, they might drop down a couple of letters or go up a couple of letters. And trying to do this on the fly is really difficult. So always have this for a reference. So if your quarterback is an H and he's got to go down to, now he's rolling off a column F, or if he goes up, he's off a column J. So this comes in super handy, and this is one of those games that ratings change all the time, and so you're going to need one of these, okay? The charts. Wow, there's charts for everything, but let's be kind of fair here, okay? One chart is your penalty chart, okay? Fair enough. This here is your solo chart. So if you're playing by yourself, you can roll dice to have the defense call a play or the offense call a play. Okay, so this is the solo chart. The rest of the stuff here kind of goes together. So what I mean by this, you got your punting table and your punt return table. So that's like one set of charts. Okay, you have your kickoff table, your onside kick, your squib kick, which is also on the fumble and interception return table. But that will go with the kickoff return table, so they kind of go together. You got your passing table, and that goes together with your receiving table. And then lastly, your rushing table is all by itself. This is the only time you really only have one chart. All right, the cards here, it's a team card like Fast Action Football. This game is very similar to Fast Action Football if you played that. It is a play-by-play game, so it's going to be a long game, and it's going to be a lot of lookup on the charts. And much like Fast Action Football, you have your key players. You got your rushers, your receivers, passers, kickers, returners, and then the sacks on D and interceptions on D. So you have a lot of the guys here that are, and you roll too. So a lot of these are ranges. So from 11 to 26 is Troy Brown, and then all the way down to here, you got a lot of 66s, and you just choose who you want in the game at that point. So that's how, like Fast Action Football, you can kind of let the dice decide who gets the ball. But for fumbles and sacks and interceptions, you roll and it tells you. All right, so let me see here. What have I discovered so far? So I guess the first thing would be the roll of the dice. All right, so let's do a kickoff. Okay, where's my kickoff table? Here's my kickoff table, okay? So give you an idea how it plays. And I like this little, I stole this from the play.com. I think this is an Al Wilson creation. And it's great because I don't know if you can see it here, but it has all the individual yards on here in very light print in a football shape. So again, if you're, what I do is this is where the ball is, and then I go 10 yards, and that's the first down marker. So that's kind of how I play with this thing here. And then over here I have my downs, first, second, third, fourth down. Up here, obviously, I don't use. There is a timing, a set of cards that you can do for timing in this game. I didn't print out the cards. I think I actually might now. Now that I've read the directions a little bit further, there is a way you can use all dice, but there's these cards here. I don't know if you can see the images on here at all, but those are the images that you would have. So you would have, sometimes the play would go out of bounds, you just have a normal play, and then every once in a while you get a penalty check. So I should probably print out these cards, and that would be a lot easier to keep the timing of the game as well. If you want to use dice, from what I have figured out so far, and it could be wrong, is that one of the dice is here you roll, and it indicated it on kickoffs and punts, but I would imagine that every play you'd want to roll this with everything else, and a 1 and the play goes out of bounds, and a 6 would be a penalty check. Okay, and I think that's how that works with this die here if you're not using the cards to flip for the time. There's supposed to be 30 plays in a quarter, which is about right. I think Fast Action Football was right around that area as well. And some plays don't run off any time, and some plays are a half a play, like an incomplete pass is like a half a play. So there is some timing to the game, and the dice comes in to play. So if you go out of bounds, maybe it would only be half a play or something like that. But it's all in the rules. Let's start off here. Now, what I do for dice is on a normal play, I roll the 4 dice here, okay? And what this does is it gives me my APA style roll with the red and the white that tells me kind of what's happening. It's my out of bounds and penalty check, and it's also my defense check if I'm playing off the defensive play call here. If it was first or second down, I roll the 1. They're gonna play defense is gonna play pass, and so there's different modifications. Again, this chart here is going to be your friend, okay? Because let's just say that the Patriots are playing an Antoine Smith. He's a rating of N, okay? I need to check the defense of the Jets, which is a 2, so N becomes L. But if they key on me, now it goes the other way. If they blitz, L now becomes J, and things like that. So this scale is constantly floating during the game of what chart you're going to look at. Sounds confusing. It's really not, but you need to know what column you're reading off of. So this is going to be key. So let's try a kickoff. Okay, so the Jets are going to kick off, and it's going to be John Hall. Okay, I don't know if I can show you this, and it just shows you John Hall's got his field goal ratings, his kickoff ratings, and his extra point ratings on John Hall. Okay. And so we're going to go with the kickoff. Now he's kickoff B. So I just look over here on my kickoff table, okay, and I look on the column B. So all I do is roll this right here. Column B, it's a 44. So 44 column B, the 13-yard line. I like that. It doesn't tell me how far it went. It tells me where it went. So I do like that. So 44 in column B is the 13-yard line, okay? So this kick lands on the 13-yard line. So now you roll to see who's going to return the kick. If you wanted to, you could also do that at the same time. So I could roll both sets of dice, get how far it went, and then who's going to return the kick. So a 61 here, kick return is going to be Patrick Pass is going to return this. And Patrick Pass is a rating of Q on a kick return. So I've already done my kickoff table. I go to my kickoff return for column Q for Patrick Pass. Column Q, 55, would be 16 yards. So he's at the 13, he brings it up to the 29, and it's 1st and 10, Patriots at the 29. So that's kind of how this works with the kickoff, okay? And again, there's a whole timing thing I might not get into right now, but I just want to show you how the game plays. So let's do a run. So all I need for a run is the rushing table. A couple ways you can do a run. You can roll the dice to see who the ball carrier is. Or like fast action, it says you can call the ball carrier. So I'm going to say it's going to be Kevin Falk is going to run the ball for me. He's in the backfield. He's going to run the ball for me, okay? So Kevin Falk is a rating of M, okay? The Jets' defense, rushing defense, is not that good. It's a 2. So I add 2 to M. Again, I'm subtracting because that's what the rules tell you to do. So M, so I'm reading from column K. So Brady's going to get the ball, hand off to Falk. We got a 51 in column K. In column K, 51 would be 4 yards. So he hands off to him, he gets it up to, so 1, 2, 3, 4. So he gets it up to the 33, it's going to be 2nd and 6. So that's how a run works. Again, on my table here, you can lose yards, you can get big gainers, and there's a breakaway table here. There's possible fumbles, where you would roll off the fumble chart, and things like that. Oh, and I should be rolling, again, I didn't roll my defensive dice. Actually, that's what I screwed up there. So I should have been rolling my defensive dice. So they're in a normal set, so that wouldn't change anything. In a 3, there's no penalty, and there's no out of bounds. So that was a running play. So let's do another running play. Just see what happens here. Okay, this time I'm going to let the dice decide who gets the ball. Okay, so you might need a lot more dice. So let's first see who gets the ball. All right, so it's going to be a handoff to 25. So that's going to be Antoine Smith. Okay, so when I look at my rushers, again, 11 to 44 is Smith. 45 to 52 is Edwards, and it goes right on down the line. So I rolled the lowest number, so it's going to be the top guy, Antoine Smith. So on 2nd and 6, Antoine Smith gets the ball. So now, I need to check, Antoine Smith is an N, okay? But I need to also see what the defense is calling and see if there's a penalty. So I'm going to roll all these, and I'm going to check, so there's no penalty, doesn't go out of bounds. Defense is blitzing, okay? So 6 in the defense on 1st and 2nd down is a blitz. On a blitz, okay, if I run, I modify my run rating by 2 because they're blitzing, okay? So they blitz against the run. So if you follow this, Antoine Smith starts with N. The Jets' rushing defense is a 2, so I would go from N to L. And because they're blitzing, now I'm in column J. Yeah, that's kind of how this works. So I'm in column J with a 61. So column J rushing 61 is actually a 2-yard loss. So he goes back to the 31-yard line, and it's going to be I think that's going to be 3rd and 8. So that's kind of how this game actually plays out. I think I got this right. I keep forgetting the rule for all this stuff. Now on a penalty check, what I do like about the penalty checks, okay, is each team is rating for offensive penalties and defensive penalties. And when you roll the dice, so if this come out 6, okay, we got a penalty check on the play. We roll the dice, and we got a 42. So 42 says 0-3, okay? Your penalty, I believe, is 1, 2, or 3. Oh, so offense being O being offense and D being defense. So New England is offensive 2, and the Jets' defense is defensive 2. So I rolled a 42, and it says offensive 3. Now what I like about this is offensive 3 is going to be no penalty because New England is offense 2, if you follow that. So on a 1 or a 2, that would be an offensive penalty. Offensive 3, there's no call. So I like that even when a penalty comes up, it's not going to be a penalty all the time. And again, if I rolled something else for the Jets, so the Jets are a D2. Now, if I rolled a D3, there'd be no penalty. But if I rolled a D1 or a D2, there would be a penalty, okay? So obviously, the lower the penalty rating, the better you are, because you would have to roll a 1, an O1 or a D1 to get a penalty if you had a 1 rating. So I like the fact that penalties are not automatically a penalty. Like I think they are in fast action football. It's like automatic, I think. So there's your penalty chart. Okay, then the defensive chart. Let's try a passing play. Okay, let's just get crazy and do passing. So we're going to pass the ball, and again, you can tell who you want to pass to, or like in fast action, or you can roll for it. All right, so let's do this. Let's find out who we're going to pass to. Okay, Brady's going to pass, and a 56 is going to be Terry Glenn. Okay, so we'll get that out of the way. So Brady's going to try to pass to Terry Glenn. So we're going to have to roll this to see if it's complete. We got a penalty check, and we got the defense. Okay, so the defense on 3rd down, they're playing pass. So if they're playing pass, my quarterback rating goes down by 2, which means it actually goes up by 2. All right, so there's no penalty, there's no out of bounds on the play, so it's a 25 for Brady. So Brady is rating of H. H passing table, but because they're expecting the pass, my H goes up, which is bad, to J. Okay, you want to get as close to A as possible. Okay, so I'm in H. The passing defense for the Jets is 0, so this is a good thing. There's no modification there for the rest of the game. So my H for Tom Brady goes up 2 because they're expecting pass. So now he's rolling off a column J, which is actually kind of cool because if they're playing pass, then it should be harder to pass, right? So column J with a 24. So column J with a 24 is actually complete. So Brady completes it. Now we already said it was Terry Glenn, okay, who caught the ball. So Terry Glenn is a Q, okay, as in quirky. That's kind of how this game is. So now we're going to check the receiving yardage. So column Q, Brady hits column Q to Terry Glenn for a 31, and a 31 is 12 plus. Okay. So it's a medium gain plus 1 die roll. So he gains 12 yards plus 5, so that's 17 yards on the catch to Terry Glenn. So 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, I think I said 17, right? I think that's what I said. So that's a first down for New England, and they're at their own 48-yard line. So that's kind of how a pass works. Now, I haven't done a punt yet, but punting is very similar to the kickoffs and everything else in the game, okay? So on the punt, let's just say the Patriots decided to kick. So Ken Walter comes in. He's column T. And what I do is I roll the red, white, and blue because the only way a punt can be blocked is if you roll 2 6s and then roll another 6. So I might as well just roll them all at the same time, okay? And then you want to check this too to see if there's a penalty or if the kick goes out of bounds. That's also in the rules. So we'll roll all this here. Ooh, it was almost blocked. I got a 6 and a 1. Woohoo! Okay, so it's not out of bounds. There's no block. And column T, 66. Column T, 66 is a 37-yard kick. Okay, which is about what he kicked. So we would go 10, 20, 30, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it lands on the 15. So who's going to return it? Well, let's find out who returns it and see how far they got. So we'll go 66. Well, that punt would have been blocked on that kick. Ooh, look at that, right? So 66 on a punt return would be Aaron Glenn. He is a Y. And we look at column 64 in the punt return table for a Y. And 64, and that's 0 yards, so basically fair catch. So the Jets get it 1st and 10 on the 15. So that's kind of how this game plays. Again, there's interception ratings and fumble ratings. So let's just say now, all right, so where's my passing chart here? Okay, so I got my passing table. All right, so let's just say the Jets have it now, and Vinny Testaverde has it, and he's going to pass, okay? So Vinny Testaverde, his interception rating is 1. So if I look on the chart here on the passing table, I probably can't see it that good, but it goes from interception 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1, okay? So the only way Testaverde can get picked off is if I roll a 66. That's the only way, because he's an I1. If I roll I2, 3, 4, or 5, it's just an incomplete pass. Okay, so that's good. Brady's also an I1, so you want to have a nice low interception rating. When it comes to sacks, it's the same thing. There's a sack rating from 1 to 6. Okay, so let's just say you had a sack rating of 3, you can get sacked on a 1, 2, or 3, but not on a 4, 5, or 6. Okay, if you're not sacked, it goes into what's called a hurry, and then you can either rush the ball, or there's an advanced rule for hurrying, where you would decline again. You would go to here. You would move up 7 columns to see if you would complete the pass to a secondary receiver. Kind of cool, but again, it's a lot of going here to find out what column you're rolling on, then rolling on that column. Again, there's also potential fumbles in this game, and there's a fumble table to see. All the players have a fumble rating. Okay, usually it's C, but I mean they all have a fumble rating. So you would roll the dice and say, okay, potential fumble, and I rolled a 45. So a 45, nobody has it's a fumble, but the team got it back, so there's no turnover. So that's kind of how I figured how this game plays out. It seems pretty straightforward. It's just there's a lot of things to go over. There's at the bottom of everything, there's a key chart here that tells you like everything that could possibly happen on the chart. So I do like that. I mean, the completes are fairly simple there, but if there's something else that's going to happen, it tells you what it is. White is incomplete. The receiving table here, it tells you what's happened down here. Again, if there's a plus symbol, you roll an extra dice. So the charts are pretty well laid out. It's just there's a lot of them. So anyway, this will be part 1. I'll set up and actually do some actual playing of a game and try to figure out the timing. Maybe I'll print out those fast action cards for the timing deck, which might help me to remember to roll all this stuff here. I do kind of like the defensive play calling here because at first I wasn't crazy about being locked into what I rolled on a defensive chart, but when you think about it, especially in today's NFL, they're calling all kinds of crazy defenses at all kinds of crazy times. So it wouldn't, a blitz on first down wouldn't be uncommon if that's what they called. So anyway, so that is a first look at Gridiron Wars from Downey Games. I picked it up on the Black Friday sale on day after Thanksgiving. And there's a lot to it. It's just a lot of looking up. I'm hoping the more I play it, the faster I'll get. But the issue I have with it out of the gate is fast action football, if you remember, I keep comparing it to that, is when you would run, it'd be like you roll the dice, you either flip the card or roll the dice. I think it was fast action card. You'll see who controlled it. Is it controlled by the defense or controlled by the offense? If it's controlled by the offense, who ran it, what's the dice roll, and it gives you the yardage right here, and you're done. There's no looking at a rating and figuring out the run rating and then figuring out, what play the defensive called and playing around over here and then going to your column. There's none of that. It's right off the card here. It's right off the team chart. It tells you exactly. So I could roll the dice in fast action football and, okay, if I'm off the offensive chart here, it's a 16 and it's this guy here, he gets 5 yards. And that's it. You're done. There's no modifying and going to charts and the whole bit. So I think fast action football plays a little bit quicker than this. This is interesting because it's got a lot more wrinkles to it and there's a lot more things going on here than just the standard charts. I mean, you could really get some very variable results out of here compared to fast action football, but it is chart city. So anyway, I'm Dave. I hope you liked this first look at Gridiron Wars from Downey Games, and I'm sure I'll come back with another video on this, but now this gets me itching to play fast action football because I thought it was a little bit easier. Still a lot to remember, but I thought it was a little bit quicker for resolving stuff. So anyway, I'm Dave. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.